In line with JCI RISE initiative to support the recovery and sustainability of business, civil societies, and individuals, in JCI we are hosting this series of panel discussions featuring global leaders. Welcome everyone to the 2022 JCI RISE Virtual Summit. I am very excited to be with you to build together a better future for everyone. I can see that people from all over the world are joining us, so thank you for participating in this summit. In the sessions, we are going to talk about business resilience. My name is Franco, 2022 JCI Vice President for America, member of this global network of young leaders since 2006. I'm from Argentina, based in Barcelona. I hold a master's degree in human resources and talent management, the field in I work as international consultant, and today I have the pleasure to be hosting this session. So thank you very much for participating in these sessions, but we are not here to talk about me, right? As I've mentioned before, with a very special guest, which I will introduce shortly, we will address the topic of business resilience. According to McKinsey, the world is experiencing a level of disruption and business risk not seen in generations. Some companies freeze and fail, with others innovate, advance, and even thrive. The difference is just resilience. The PwC's Global Crisis Survey that was run last year shown that 84% of organizations report that have discussed the value of organizational resilience. This, without any doubt, is sufficient proof of the relevance of this topic for the economic strengthening of our communities in times where we are going through inflation, we are going through economic crises, wars, climate change, technological advances, migratory movements, and much more. Some time ago, I've read an article in Forbes magazine which said that build and maintain resiliency in our business, we need to focus on 4 things that will be key of our success: culture, leadership, change, and discipline. And let me tell you that I felt very motivated with that because there are spotlights on which we very hard work in JCI. Developing leaders for a changing world. JCI RISE initiative has 3 pillars: sustainability and rebuilding economies, workforce motivation, and preserving mental health. Related to the first pillar, when we work together to sustain and rebuild business and economy, we are impacting lives. We are impacting livelihoods. Example of that we can find in JCI around all the globe, many projects that we are doing. For example, the JCI Gastronomic Passport in Santa Catarina, Brazil, that helps the community to recover the economy through consumption and establishment impacted by the pandemic, helping a gradual return to the post-pandemic activities. If we move to other countries, in Tobago, for example, we have the workshop for development of small and medium enterprises, which intending to create awareness on how Tobago business supply chain management processes can be arguing to allow competitive advantage of its rivals become the obvious choice, offering the best value for money to its B2B customers. Also, we have, for example, the JCI Cork Tourist Guide in Cork, Ireland, which aims to offer a holistic support of community, both local and those who are traveling to this city, which is Cork, helping to sustaining and rebuilding economies by supporting small local business. Also, we have, for example, the CEO Summit in Syria to bring together executives and management of small private companies and newly emerging projects to communicate them and discuss how to overcome the shared common obstacles they have. From my perspective, it is time to look at why we do business. It is time to rethink and to adapt to make it more ethical, sustainable, and for next generations. In this line, and aligned to the United Nations Skill Development Goals, for example, the 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, also the 11, sustainable cities and communities, 12, responsible consumption and production. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to be resilient. And for that, we have the perfect speaker to support and, more important, to inspire us. Please come with me, and I invite you to meet Gabriel Petrus. He is Global Head of the ICC Center Entrepreneurship and former Deputy Director for Global Partnerships and Development at the International Chamber of Commerce. Associate Professor of International Law at the University of Paris. Gabriel actually is based in Paris, leading the global work of the ICC on entrepreneurship, open innovation, and digitalization of small and medium enterprises through global partnerships with governments, multilateral development agencies, and industry association across the Europe, Middle East, Africa region, Asia, and Latin America. Former Senior Public Policy Associate of Uber, and former advisor to Brazil President of Republic between 2010 and 13. Steering committee member of the ICC United Nations Center of Entrepreneurship in Africa and Western Asia. Lawyer by training, Gabriel holds a master's degree in international relations, a master's degree in public finance, and certificate in public policy from the American University, Washington, D.C. in 2014. So welcome, Gabriel. It is a very, very great pleasure to have you with us at this summit as representing the ICC to be able to strengthen the alliance that we have had from years and to collaborative work that we undertake together. So on behalf of all JCI, thank you for being here and welcome to this summit. How are you?
Thank you, Franco. I'm very happy to be here. I'm doing good. What about you?
Good, good. Very excited with the audience that we are seeing that it's connecting. And of course, to talk about this topic, about business resilience, which is very, very important. What do you think about it?
Well, resilience, I think it's the most necessary word now for all new business and emerging business, especially in emerging countries. We've been we've been doing a lot of research recently through the Centers of Entrepreneurship on how important resilience is for SMEs. And what we actually have as first findings from those research we've been conducting throughout the ICC network is that it doesn't matter if you have a good idea, it doesn't matter if you have a good business initiative, or even if you have potential customers for your business, if your business is not resilient. But what is resilience? And when COVID hit, I think all organizations, all international organizations, from ICC to JCI, the OECD, the World Bank, we had all to be repositioned very quickly in our goals, in our missions. I think one important area of intervention that for most part of international organizations we're looking at very closely is the importance to provide business, and not only to business, but people, of course, because behind business we have people, resilience. And through the Centers of Entrepreneurship, which is a new platform that the ICC, the International Chamber of Commerce, has launched 1 year ago, we see a future where everyone can start and grow their own business, and where every business can take full advantage of international trade. And in this increasingly interconnected planet, actually, we do see international trade or cross-border entrepreneurship as a key way for us to ensure resilience for business. We know there's an important challenge for the youth and for SMEs, which is the asymmetry of information. We know that some countries, they are facing what we call the digital gap. Unfortunately, in Africa, for example, 40% of people, they still struggle to have access to electricity in some countries. So you can imagine about having access to mobile computers or telephones or any other technologies that require broadband, for example, which is still a challenge in Africa and many developing countries. So tackling this kind of issue, which is the digital divide in the planet, is very important and must be at the very upfront mission of international organizations. And This is just one example about where do we find the importance of resilience is actually related not only to the conditions and the roadblocks and the environment and the limitations of the environment where businesses are located, but also about social inequalities like this one, or economic inequality. So tackling this kind of issue is key for us. And of course, it's not only about, when we speak about resilience, it's not only about looking back on what needs to be improved or what needs to be changed, like tackling the digital gap for developing countries, but also looking at new opportunities that we can actually unveil with technology. And coming back to what I just mentioned about the asymmetry of information, which is an issue for us to connect SMEs with global markets, for example, we do believe that global platforms and digital platforms can actually be a leapfrog for entrepreneurs, especially for the youth, to be quickly connected with potential customers abroad, or potential business partners, or why not potential investors. So one of the platforms we're working through, the ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship, is an open innovation platform where we will connect every incubator, every startup incubator in the planet with each other, which is quite important milestone for on the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and also corporates who are increasingly investing in startups. We do think that investing in open innovation, which is this very recent concept about startup corporate collaboration, is a second measure we could actually look at in terms of creating resilience for businesses. It's also important to say that when we decided to launch the ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship, we took from the very beginning of the program a very democratic approach about entrepreneurship. So I spoke a lot about startups and the importance of tackling the digital gap in order to provide everyone an opportunity to create livelihoods. But we can't leave behind SMEs from the retail sector or from the manufacturing sector that do not necessarily are considered startups. Those SMEs, they are also part of our mandate as ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship. So our vision about supporting people and supporting them to be more resilient is very broad, and there's no other way rather than having a democratic approach on entrepreneurship to ensure a truly resilient policies and programs that can actually help everyone everywhere to become an entrepreneur or to strive as a successful entrepreneur.
That's a very great introduction. And let me tell you that I like the idea of bridging the gap that you were saying, because we are facing many challenges. As you know, in JCI, we are having activities around all the globe. So we are aware of what you are talking about. And also this about open innovation platforms. So as young people, that all the audience probably that are seeing this video, that it's nice, because of young people, we are always looking for open innovation spaces in order to exchange our ideas, to share what we are thinking, also to expand our businesses. So that it's a very great introduction in order to say, yes, we need to keep being involved each other in order to have better results. And as you were saying, to be resilient. So let me, Gabriel, please move to the third question that I have, which I want to know your opinion about it. And if it's, can anyone be an entrepreneur in your idea?
Of course, we do believe that, well, my perspective on that question is that not only everyone can be an entrepreneur, but everyone can be a successful entrepreneur. And that's our challenge. That's the challenge of our generation, actually, to ensure that everyone has at least the minimal set of tools or the minimal set of support, either from governments, either from the private sector, to become a successful entrepreneur. There are many opportunities on the ground. We know that. The challenge that our planet faces on sustainability, the challenge that we face with climate change, the challenge that we face with inequalities actually open as well a new area of opportunities on social entrepreneurship, for example. So talking about entrepreneurship, it's not only about talking about providing people meaningful tools for them to become successful entrepreneurs and have access to meaningful livelihood, but also we must understand that providing people opportunities to become entrepreneurs is actually about creating self-reliance on people, on the youth especially. And actually, when we create economic opportunities on the ground, we actually have more, of course, conditions to tackle systemic problems faced by communities. We have an opportunity to actually mobilize entrepreneurship on issues that affect the SDGs. So we talk a lot about SDG-oriented programs, which is also part of our mandate. And of course, having this democratic vision about everyone become an entrepreneur is actually the best way for us to include everyone as society, as the challenge that we are facing today. They're increasing interconnected. One challenge that we might have in Brazil or in Argentina might be the same as we have in Kenya or France. So connecting everyone is also important for us. And this very important component of networking also dialogues with this idea of ensuring everyone an opportunity to become entrepreneur and exchange best practices. And I think that's what JCI, one of the things that is great about JCI is how you actually connect best practices around the globe and the opportunity and the possibilities of globalizing successful projects. As you mentioned, a project in Brazil, Santa Catarina, might be scaled up to another region. And I think this also relates to what we've been discussing about tackling the asymmetry of information, knowing what is happening in other countries with the same sectors, for example, might be a way to address that. But to get back to your question, based on I think what we've been doing now, yes, everybody can be an entrepreneur, and I would say more, everybody can be, anyone can be a successful entrepreneur as well.
Thank you, Gabriel. So, ladies, gentlemen, as Gabriel was saying, all of us, we can be entrepreneur. And let me tell you, we should be entrepreneurs because the society needs us as entrepreneurs. And more important, as was saying Gabriel, you can be a successful entrepreneur. So we encourage you to develop your skill to become those successful entrepreneurs that Gabriel and your society wants to see you. So moving to the next questions, Gabriel, what are the main characteristics of a resilient business? What do you think about it?
Well, there's an important component about resilience, which is the capacity to overcome any crisis or unforeseen events, like what we saw with COVID, what we saw with pandemic, what we're seeing now with climate change, what we might see in the future with increasing rise of inequalities in the planet. The capacity of any business, any SMEs or big business, because resilience, of course, let's walk the talk. It's about everyone. Resilience is about the small and big ones. And this is a major issue for all business. So the capacity to anticipate potential risks in the future is at the very key concept of resilience and business resilience. So it's a little bit challenging, of course. And that's why international organizations like JCI, ICC, the OECD, and others have been working to try to anticipate some potential risks that can affect business and actually make sure that we can train business and share information about that. Again, tackling the challenge of asymmetry of information is one of the best ways to address that. But that's to answer very straight ahead to your question. That's in our view. Business resilience is directly related to the capacity of anticipating unforeseen events. So we need to have a look on how we can actually anticipate those risks and prepare business to be ready to react. And again, another important, of course, we talked about the big ones, but SMEs, they do represent about 80% of the global economy in terms of job creation, for example. So ensuring that we can actually have specific programs or policies that can enhance the resilience of the small business is very key actually to protect communities, because many jobs they do, they are related to small business. Those people, those families, they depend on those small business. So the best social policy today, one of the best approaches for doing social policy is actually creating resilience for small businesses.
Great. Yeah, small businesses are pretty relevant, and the pandemic shown it in a very high level. So, Gabriel, I will move to the audience because they have a questions to you. Uh, and it's, how can we apply business resilience principle to these trying times? So how can we apply business resilient principles to these trying times?
This is well, there are some steps that a business must comply with whenever the business owner is looking to be more resilient. First thing, to do a full review, a 360 degrees review of its business plan, and try to identify what are the main risks that this business might face, considering the geopolitical situation of the country where the business is located, considering the trends on international trade, if it's already a business that is interconnected. And of course, doing this review might require a set of tools. The second step a business should look at when, as a process to actually ensure resilience is looking at the SDGs. The SDGs, they're amazing. It's an amazing framework, actually, Sustainable Development Goals, to help companies guide and understand where they are impacting. We talk a lot about externalities, about the impact of a business on the environment, the impact of a business on a community. So even for a small business, having a look at how your business is impacting in the society and in the environment is a very good way to understand how you can actually prevent risks. Because on the same way that you, as an entrepreneur, you're impacting society or climate, you can also be impacted by climate and by society. So understanding the link between business and social and external elements, or climate, from climate to any other external events, it's very key for a business to understand how the business impact, but also how the business can be impacted. So for us, that's a very important step when shaping or strengthening your business resilience.
Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, skill development goals still being very relevant, and we need them in order to run our activities, projects, and business as well. It's not just for JCI projects, but also we need them to bring to our businesses, our work, our profession activities. So thank you, Gabriel, for that. I hope you were clarifying that question for the audience. And I have one question to you, and it's regarding something very, very serious that we are facing, different crises. And it's, what opportunities do you see for business in this roller coaster of crisis that we are facing?
Thanks, Franco, for your question. I think diversification of the client portfolio is a big thing. So we know that most part of the SMEs, they're still not connected with global markets. If you look at developing countries, probably less than 30% of SMEs, they're actually doing business cross borders. So we understand that diversifying and of course, including your business into the global economy, so exporting more or importing more, or having a foreign business partner, for example, or having a foreign investor supporting your business is key. So having more tools to access global markets for us, it's an important way. It's an important opportunity, actually, because your question was about opportunity. So global trade. The second trend for us to look at is on the SDGs. Again, I don't want to bounce back on that, but what we can't circumvent this discussion. But let's see the SDGs as not only as of course a risk we should look at, like, you know, when measuring the business impacts on the society. Of course, there are risks that business brings to society that should be mitigated. But let's see the SDGs not as a cost, but as an opportunity for your business to be more aligned with what the planet expects from business as well. So consumers, of course, they're increasingly worried about the sustainability, track record of a given product, or of course, there's this pressure, which is very positive. So the alignment of a business with the SDGs is a good indicator and a good opportunity, actually, even to be, for a business to have more competitive advantage related to other business. It's a great incentive.
Good. Yes, diversification, it's always the key in order to have or to take advantage of opportunities. So thanks for that feedback. And I have one last question. Probably for us, it's quite obvious the answer, but I want you to clarify for the audience. And it's why, in your opinion, business resilience is so important?
Well, I think without business resilience, we can't look at the future. Without resilience, we can't imagine how many risks your business might face, and how many risks actually can unfortunately affect not only your business, but all families or jobs that are related to your business. So looking at tools and programs that actually strengthen business resilience is the best way for your business to be connected with the future. It's about horizon scanning. It's about positioning yourself and your business ahead of any potential trend that might affect you in the future. And again, we don't need to actually do a lot of horizon scanning to look at the risks. The risks are closer than us than we think they are. So looking at those risks and actually taking measures in the present to tackle the risks is really important. And the last thing that I haven't touched upon, but I think this is a very important topic and deserves another full conversation, is about access to finance. This is very important, especially in developing markets, that we do provide speed access to finance for SMEs that are facing more critical risks than others. In the pandemic, I think we had many lessons with the pandemic about the need to speed access to finance, and of course use digital tools for that. We should look at the fintech market. There's a lot of involvement on that, and of course we should call upon banks and financial institutions to rethink how they assess risks when providing credit for SMEs, so that we can actually have more accessible frameworks for SMEs when having access to credit. And future entrepreneurs, of course, I'm not talking about. We should also look at the future, startups and future business owners that are watching to this event today.
So clear, though. So yeah, as you was saying, and it's part of the origin of this virtual summit is to think about the future. It's how we can impact that future, and that it's resilience. So the topic for this session is quite accurate in order to start rethinking what we can do, what can we develop our entrepreneurial skills in order to think in that future and to move and to address everything to find and to achieve those goals that we are facing. So thank you for your answers, Gabriel. I don't know if you want to summarize something and share something with the audience. We have people from around all the globe here with us. So something that you want to share with them. I figured out that we are almost on time, so I don't want to take your time because you are very busy. But I want you to share something with our audience and everyone that who is seeing this live.
Thanks, Franco, and thank you so much and thank you and JCI for this invitation. We're very happy to actually partner with JCI on shaping new policies and programs all over the globe. I think we have a lot in common, JCI and ICC. We're truly global organizations. I'm so happy to see people from all over the globe connected today. And the best solution, the best way for us to go ahead is, first, let's think that every one of us, all of us, even ourselves, like we are established in organizations, but we can be entrepreneurs, we can be successful entrepreneurs. There are many opportunities, many support, many areas where you can actually, many organizations that you can count on. So don't hesitate, actually, whenever you have a good idea, whenever you have any dreams about becoming an entrepreneur, you can do it, and you can become not only a successful entrepreneur, but looking at resilience is also not only the best way to preserve your existing business, but also benefit your own community, because as you are more resilient, your community, your families, your societies, the societies where you are operating will be also more resilient, and there'll be more prosperity for all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Franco, and thank you, colleagues from JCI.
Thanks, Gabriel. Yes, as Gabriel was saying, and which is very important, is that everyone can be entrepreneur. It's not only related business, but we can also be entrepreneur in many different areas that we want to do. Could be a social entrepreneur, could be a professional entrepreneur. No matter the place that we are, we can do something. Gabriel was talking and was very, very nice and impactful to me about bridging gaps. And we have a commitment around all the globe because we need to support different countries that are facing different problems. He talked about diversification, which is very important in order if we are doing some business, we are facing many crises and different challenges and issues in our society. So please diversify your business, anticipating events. So we need to have the 2-year very active, our eyes, our network as well, in order to take advantage of it and anticipating the events, to be prepared, well prepared. The importance of small business in our society, which is very relevant. Many times when we talk about business resilience, we think that it's something for the big companies, but it's something very close to us. Gabriel was saying, and please let me repeat with exactly words, we can't think in the future if we are not talking about resilience. So it's something that, we like it or not, we need to talk about it. We need to keep developing that and implementing in our lives. He said that it's more closer than we think many times in our life. So please take advantage of that. So from my side, Gabriel, thank you very much one more time. It was a very marvelous input that you shared with our audience, with myself. So dear audience, we encourage you to keep participating actively in your community, to generate positive impact, to be more resilient, to lift up your environment, your economies, and even more important, other individuals that are part of your community. So thank you everyone for participating in this business resilience session within the 2022 JCI Rise Virtual Summit.